Hello, and welcome to Innovation Lab, your go to resource for all things biotech startups. Brought to you by the National Cancer Institute's Small Business Innovation Research, SBIR Development Center. Our podcast hosts interviews with successful entrepreneurs and provides resources for small businesses looking to take their cutting edge cancer solutions from lab to market. I'm Monique Pond, a program director and team leader at NCI SBIR, and I'll be today's host. In this episode, we're going to discuss the importance of talking to an NCI SBIR program director before applying and how you can make the most of your conversations with our staff. Today, I've invited my fellow program director and team leader at the NCI SBIR Development Center, Jonathan Frank-Coe. Welcome, Johnny.
Thank you, Monique. Looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, thanks for joining. So to get us started today, I wanted to talk about who should be reaching out to a program director.
That's a question many people have, so I'm glad we're starting with that. Chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably should get in touch. But more broadly, we are happy to talk to anyone who's thinking about an SBIR or STTR application, anyone curious about commercializing their technology. Whether you're ready for an application or not, even if that is something you think will be more down the road, a couple of months from now, we're still happy to talk and give you whatever advice and guidance that we can.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you don't have to have already started your small business to reach out to us. We're happy to talk to you if you have an idea about a technology and are curious if it would fit within our mission or potentially, be right for an SBIR STTR application. So let's talk about timing. When should somebody reach out to a program director in our office?
We're here to help out at whatever stage you're at, but my advice is to reach out as early as possible. It's helpful if you know the application due dates and the timing of the cycle so that you can try and avoid the busiest periods, which are obviously going to be right before the due date. So if you contact us early, you'll have more of our attention and we'll have more time to dedicate to answering your questions.
Yeah, that's great advice. I often find that, a month before a due date, I have a lot more availability to meet with people and answer their questions versus the week before a due date. So what are our omnibus application dates for those who might be new to SBIR?
Yeah, well, the magic dates are January 5th, April 5th, and September 5th. If those dates happen to fall on a weekend or public holiday, then it's be the following business day.
Great. Thanks, Johnny. So Johnny, can you explain to people listening in today how they go about reaching us or talking to us?
Sure. A great first point will be to look at our website, which has all our contact information. There you can see a list of our program directors in our office and our email addresses. We also have a general office email, which is ncisbir@mail.nih.gov. And that goes to a central mailbox, which can match you with the most appropriate program director and get you started that way.
Okay, great. So in that email, what do you recommend people include in there for information to make sure they get matched with an appropriate program director?
The more information you can give us ahead of time, the better we'll be able to help you. How I like to go about handling these calls is to request that prospective applicants send a one-pager or ideally a specific aims page that you're thinking about in terms of a project. And that gives us a great starting point to initiate the conversation. We're happy to review those aims. I think that's probably one of the things we do that provides most value to applicants. We will be able to tell you whether or not your ideas are coming across clearly. We can help you adjust and refine those aims so that they're a close match for the project scope that's appropriate for phase 1, phase 2 SBIR. Common question that we work with applicants is trying to help them figure out what is the best funding mechanism, whether they're ready or not for some of the larger funding opportunities like a direct to phase 2 or fast track application, or whether perhaps in their case a phase 1, which is our introductory grant, would be the most appropriate.
Yeah, that's a good point, Johnny. That's a question that I hear a lot from people. So
Yeah.
are there other resources or instructions that they can take a look at perhaps, or that you recommend before they jump on a call with you?
We have a lot of general information on our website, which is sbir.cancer.gov. Another great resource is the application instructions, a document called the SF424. That provides a lot of guidance and detailed help there. But I think when you're setting up a conversation with the program director, we're really there to provide as much as possible answers to your specific, unique questions that are specific to your project. Each project is unique, and we're there to kind of provide you with our expertise and background to help you find the answers you need.
Yeah, navigating the SBIR STTR application, if you're new to it, that can be a bit of a learning curve. So definitely reach out, and we're happy to try and help. I'll add the SF424 instructions are helpful for things like, how many pages for each section, what sections are required. And so if you do take a look at that beforehand, then you can have those answers to your questions, and then we can focus, as Johnny said, maybe more specific questions to your unique project. So a question I know I get asked a lot, and I'm sure you do too, Johnny. What if someone listening in right now has a platform technology or some type of technology that could potentially fit within multiple NIH institutes or centers' mission, and they don't know who to reach out to, whether it be NCI or a different institute or center? What should they do?
That is another thing that comes up quite frequently. As many applicants know, there is some overlap between the mission focus of the different institutes at the NIH, and figuring out which is the best one for you is sometimes not so easy from the outside. So that's another great topic of conversation with the program director to navigate those nuances and find which institute has the best fit. Our portfolio at the NCI is pretty broad and spans technologies that are related to obviously therapeutics and diagnostics and novel imaging technologies, but we also do fund significant projects in development of new research tools that do cut across different disease areas. So often a follow-up question then is, I have a broad platform, but how do I tailor it towards something that the NCI might be interested in? So there, my advice is make sure you are addressing a question that is of clear interest and importance to the cancer research community. Make sure that you're using appropriate samples, that you have recruited a team with expertise in cancer biology to work on the project. And it's also a valid strategy to think about how you can secure funding from different ICs. So by focusing on cancer, you may then also have opportunity later on to explore other disease areas and potentially secure funding from other institutes.
That's a good point. Yes, I know I have several companies in my portfolio that have funding from not just NCI, but as you said, they've applied to other institutes for different indications and developed their technology in a way that fits that institute's mission. And that's a good thing. So another topic I'd like to cover today is, what if people are listening in and they've already applied either to another institute or, the National Cancer Institute, and they've received their summary statement. What do you recommend they do next, Johnny?
Yes, the dreaded summary statement. So this will be the feedback you receive from reviewers on your application. Ideally, you'll get a good score, in which case our discussion will probably be very upbeat and happy. And of course, we love those conversations. But in the case where your score may not be as compelling as hoped, one of the things we can do is help you to interpret the comments clearly and give advice on how best to go about addressing some of the concerns and critiques that reviewers have raised.
For those interested in learning more, what are a couple resources you would recommend for them to go to next, Johnny?
There's one I'd like to highlight on our website. It's called the Peer Learning and Networking webinar series. And especially for first-time applicants or people who are not as experienced with our program, there's a great topic on first steps for starting a small business. Here we have interviews and presentations from 4 entrepreneurs who tell the story of how they developed and started their own small business to commercialize their technology. It covers topics such as what are some of the roadblocks they had to overcome? How do you navigate that transition from academia to industry? What are some of the financial tools and entrepreneurial resources you can access to help you on that journey? And how about getting help from universities and other organizations? And we also have a topic on how to write a good specific aims page. Here we have presentations on how to write one for a therapeutic project, a diagnostic project, digital health project, and also a medical device project. And they go over the basics on how to get your message across clearly and make sure you stand out from the first page of the application.
That's great. So instead of, just taking kind of a program director's perspective and points, you can also hear from people who have done it and not just been applicants, but been successfully awarded. So hopefully that's helpful to people listening in if you are working on your first award yourself. Well, Johnny, thanks for your time today, and thanks for talking with us and helping our listeners out if they're new to SBIR STTR, figure out how to reach you, how to get started, and hopefully people listening in, we will hear from you soon.
Thank you, Monique.
As always, don't forget to check out our website, sbir.cancer.gov, for the latest funding opportunities and commercialization resources to support your journey from lab to market. I'm Monique Pond from NCI SBIR. Please join us again for the next installment of NCI SBIR Innovation Lab, and subscribe today wherever you listen. If you have questions about cancer or comments about this podcast, you can email us at nciinfo@nih.gov or call us at 800-422-6237. And please be sure to mention Innovation Lab in your query. We are a production of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, National Institutes of Health, National Cancer Institute. Thanks for listening.